Hi, welcome to SoulFull Wellness. I'm Kit Noonan.
And I'm Kaylin Serena Stanton, and we're here to simplify wellness as you let go of being a perfectionist and embrace the joy of being you.
And even better, this week we're not just here, we're now on YouTube for realsies.
Yeah, for real this time.
Talking about it for years.
We finally made it. It took much help. It took multiple people. It took a lot of ups, technology woes, but we made it and we're so excited for you guys to be able to see us.
We'd love to have you join us over there. Listen to different content from what you're listening to now.
This week only, our YouTube episode is going to be a bonus content for you guys. It's sort of a behind the scenes of get to know your hosts, a little less of our coaching side, a little bit more about us, I guess. And
little known facts.
Yeah, to both of us, like basically facts that we don't know about each other.
Exactly. Well, we do now because we just recorded it.
Right.
But we didn't an hour or two ago.
Exactly.
So we're sure you don't either. So go on over there, learn some fun facts. Tell our beautiful listeners all about how to locate us on YouTube, please.
Let's see if my brain is still working after a long day of working.
You can do it.
When you go over to YouTube, type in the search bar SoulFull Wellness Podcast. We should come up. You'll see our cover art. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, if not, there's an issue.
We wouldn't be surprised.
Right. Yeah, seriously, at this point. You'll see a whole bunch of old episodes because our platform that we use to release the audio podcast to all the various places, you wouldn't believe how many there actually are. We picked YouTube as one of them, but it was really stagnant. It's just a picture of our cover art.
I honestly forgot it existed. It just automatically uploads every week.
Obviously, we forgot. We couldn't find it.
I know. That was our fuck up of the week is we could not find our YouTube account, you guys.
Couldn't find it. We're like, I know it's on there.
Pretty sure we exist.
Before.
Yeah.
But now it will be much more exciting, much more engaging. It will be real live video of us hearing our voices. And in the future, it will be the episode.
You'll see us more on TikTok. We have several videos on our TikTok. You can search SoulFull Wellness Podcast. I'm sure the of is still in there. You know, we dropped the of this year.
Yes.
But you'll see more of our faces, which is so exciting. And we can't wait to engage with you. As far as the audio that you're listening to today, we can't leave you hanging. So we are releasing an oldie but a goodie. I absolutely love this episode. I always feel like when I re-listen to it, I learn something new.
I know, and it's been interesting in the months since we released this episode. At the time, it was sort of revolutionary for us. We were kind of exploring this new concept of this unconventional wellness tool. But over the months, I've noticed as this formerly uncomfortable feeling comes up for me in life, as it does, instead of just feeling those yucky feelings around it, I now say, aha, I recognize you. And I think I know why you're here. Thank you for the information. And act accordingly.
We love it.
It's been really, I'll go so far as to say revolutionary.
No, I feel you on that. It actually is really empowering in my experience. And I feel like going back and re-listening to episodes or looking through old journals, for example, reignites the spark, the motivation, and your brain goes, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm going to take that forward with me in the front of my brain and really start to use it in day-to-day life.
That. I'm absolutely picturing almost like a Rolodex, like an old school, and flipping what was in the back that you need and just bringing it back around to the forefront.
Yes. This episode is a feeling that we feel all the time as human beings. And it's just nice to be able to take the reins back and sort of transmute that into something not only positive, but something productive that can take you forward in your manifestations and really implement it in a magical way.
That said, I think we've put enough carrots dangled out there. So please do, when you're not out on your walk or not driving in your car, head on over to YouTube and find SoulFull Wellness Podcast. Without further ado, this week's content.
Love you guys.
Today we're talking about one rather unconventional but surefire way to know if something is for you or not.
This might sound a little bit crazy at first, but stick with us. We promise it'll make perfect sense. Drum roll, please.
Ding.
The question we invite you to ask yourself is, what makes you feel jealous? Who makes you feel jealous?
When you feel jealous, it's your body's way of saying, I want that for me. We've all been raised to think that jealousy is a negative emotion. We've been told that jealousy is not helpful, not fruitful. It's maybe even something to be ashamed of or to feel bad about feeling. And we're here to reframe all of that and say, jealousy is a really valid signal that your mind and your body are trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
To tell you something that they think is super obvious.
I feel like jealousy, at least for me, brings up a lot of shame and judgment. I noticed it in a therapy session, and my therapist said to me, and so you're human. Everyone gets jealous. I was holding myself to this high standard of, well, you can never be jealous because being jealous is bad and negative and low vibration. And especially, in the spiritual community, there is such a tendency to, last week we talked about toxic positivity. There's that taking something too far, or, well, you can never be jealous. Jealousy is bad.
Mm-hmm. As I started to explore this idea that jealousy was a signal, jealousy is my body talking to me, I started to pay a lot more attention to not only what made me jealous, but what also didn't at all make me jealous, that maybe I thought would, but it turns out it doesn't. And I realized a few interesting things that we'll talk about, but one in particular that nobody tells you is that jealousy isn't a one and only obscuring all other emotions emotion. I can and do simultaneously feel really happy for the person. I can feel excited for them or proud of them or a whole bunch of other different things while simultaneously feeling jealous that they have something that deep inside I find really desirable and basically want for me.
I fairly recently learned about the concept of living in contrast and feeling two emotions at the same time. And it has been so liberating to understand the fact that we can feel two things at the same time and we can feel two opposite things at the same time, right? There's space for those emotions, there's room, and you're not crazy. Mm-hmm. I can't say it plain enough. And so it's enlightening and kind of motivating to learn that jealousy is a signal and it doesn't mean we're a bad person.
Yeah, emotions are unlimited. It doesn't minimize any of the happiness I feel for the other person or the pride I feel on behalf of the other person. I still feel 100% of those upside feelings. I just happen to feel an additional feeling of jealousy.
We have to be careful about the narratives that we're telling ourselves when we're experiencing negative emotions, specifically jealousy. The inner gremlin has a very sneaky way of disguising itself as your truth or cold, hard facts. When we judge ourselves, if we're feeling jealous of someone and we kind of shove it down and shut it down because we've been raised that that's improper or that's not moral. I think for us, especially, Kit, we both were raised Catholic and grew up in Catholic communities, went to Catholic school. We definitely were raised with it might as well be a deadly sin. Like jealousy is morally wrong. And so it can be really easy to get caught up in this hamster wheel making you feel even worse about being jealous?
Well, now I recognize it for what it is. The inner gremlin is a master of obfuscation. I think I'm stuttering on that word, of obscuring things and diverting attention. So the inner gremlin sees me want something and gets in the path of success by diverting my attention on another route, saying, I don't know if you're smart enough for that, or I don't know if you're good enough for that. I don't want to see you fail. I'm going to protect you by sabotaging it from before it even starts. And I'm going to get you all fixated on self-recrimination around feeling jealous. And you're going to go down a completely different path and lose sight of the fact that what your body was telling you was that this is a goal you need to set for yourself, and you need to get on this path to getting what you want and achieving. And I think that the inner gremlin is just a master of this rerouting attention completely. And one way is this whole thing we as humans have built around jealousy.
You need to drop your mic after that. That was stellar. Way to describe it. Seriously.
You can't fail if you don't try. You also, spoiler, can't succeed if you don't try.
Behind jealousy, there's so much more than what meets the eye. Think about perfectionism. Perfectionism is seeping out of jealousy because, like you're saying, right? Not even starting something. Often we're holding ourselves back because if it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. So I feel like it's all
right.
Like in a web, right? So we have jealousy, then we draw the little line in the circle, and we have inner gremlin, negative self-talk, perfectionism, procrastination.
Yes.
All of these things and concepts are just blockages, right? So jealousy can show us where we're blocked by showing us what we want. Mm-hmm. So jealousy is simply blocked desire. What an interesting reframe. So the moment you feel jealous, consider it a little ping.
Yeah.
I should look into this. So if you could flip it, harness that emotion, flip the jealousy into inspiration, the block will slowly disappear.
You need to table all of the other beliefs about jealousy or negative emotions. Like, they're just not relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to just push them to the side because I need to stay focused, eyes on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honoring this emotion, this feeling of jealousy, and I'm honoring it by digging into what's creating it. And what's creating it is this unrealized desire. I'm going to explore that, and I'm going to put myself on a path to achieve what it is I really want. Might I fail? Sure. There's always that risk. But I'm not going to focus on my fear of failure. I'm going to focus on achieving success.
We can't get anywhere if we don't know where we're going. So if you're feeling lost or feeling like, oh, I just don't know what I'm passionate about, I don't know what I want. I think a lot of us in our 20s are really still trying to figure out our careers. And that can bring out a lot of insecurity, a lot of fear. And so being able to pay attention to where you're feeling jealous can just help you get closer along your path that is authentic to you. And it's actually something that is a realized dream, something that you want to be doing, something that works for you.
I feel like we need to give an example or two of what this might look like. I didn't tell you this one in advance, Kaylin, but you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So there is something I want that I've wanted for a few years now, and I really want it, and it feels very unachievable. It feels borderline impossible. I really want Kaylin and I to go on The Amazing Race. She knows that. She's not as gung-ho as I am, but she will be. And I knew I wanted it. It doesn't even matter why I think I want it, why I think we can win it, why I think we'll be great at it. What matters is that when people, I don't even know them personally, I just know of them. So, when you see people on YouTube enough and you listen to their podcast enough, you feel like you know them. So when Kim and Penn Holderness got picked for the Amazing Race, I was jealous. I was thrilled for them. I wanted them to win because they were sort of my surrogate us. So I was rooting for them all along the way, while at the same time being jealous of every one of those crazy challenges that they did that just looked so fun and exciting and thrilling, and all the cool, interesting places they got to go. And I knew that the reason I felt so jealous of them is because I really want that for us. So that's just a super specific, concrete example of the kind of thing we're talking about that might seem out of hand. It might seem just a little bit too big an ask, but it's not. We're going to get there.
I appreciate your faith in us, Kit, especially you knowing just like a sidebar, you knowing my directional skills or lack thereof. So I appreciate your confidence in us.
I'm not worried about that. And I'm not worried about anything. I have a little bit more pause over how you get freaked out about some, in my opinion, easy for me to say, not at all scary things, but I get a lot of people like going on a jet ski in the middle of the ocean, stuff like that.
I hate jet
skiing. I know you do. I know.
I hate adventure.
I know, but it would be so fun together. And I mean, it can't be too scary, right? They've got a whole film crew and everything. All right, I don't need to take the whole podcast selling you on this, but
we'll check this
offline. Okay, yeah. To be continued later. That's a whole episode unto itself. Why we should be on the Amazing Race.
It's just Kit pitching it to me.
Yeah, and then we'll send it in. All right, can you give us an example of a time that you realized you felt jealous and knew that meant something specific was the thing for you?
This is something I already knew I wanted, so maybe it doesn't count, but all the posts of people getting their puppies, but especially a golden retriever puppy, I've wanted one so bad that if someone else would have one, I would be very happy, but so jealous, and felt even more impatient to get mine. But I always had an inner knowing that I would get one.
And then you did.
And then I did.
You know what I'm noticing as I'm listening to you, and thank you for sharing that, and even just reflecting back on what I just said, a piece of this comes from a lack mindset.
Oh, absolutely.
We know that there are plenty of golden puppies in the world and in the future of the world.
Thank God.
We know that, okay, there aren't an unlimited number of spots to be on the Amazing Race, but it's been renewed for another season. There are future spots available. A little piece of jealousy, I think, comes from that lack mindset of the finite availability, and that when someone gets one, that's one less. And that is simply not the way most of how the world works.
Completely. It's scarcity mindset. It's buying into the idea that there's a finite pie and not everyone gets a slice, and not every podcast will make it to the top of the charts. But when I saw that smaller podcast than us hit the new and noteworthy, I got that ping of, but what's interesting is, I don't know if this is true for you too, Kit, I get a little bit of a sense of urgency that causes me to sometimes shut down and beat myself up. So I'll get that little ping of jealousy in that moment, and then feel urgency and pressure, which causes me to freeze up. So that's just, I guess, perfectionism and just inner gremlin saying, see, they did it faster than you. There's also that element of lack mindset and scarcity mindset of like, there's a finite amount and you're running out of time.
So here's the thing about jealousy. When someone else achieves that spot on the list, okay, that spot on the list is gone and we weren't in it, but we weren't going to be in it. That one wasn't for us. There are other great things in the future of SoulFull Wellness that are there for us. There are plenty of them. There are so many we don't even know about all of them, but we will hit many of those in the future.
An abundance mindset is the key to a lot of success, and it's the root of trust in the universe, trust in yourself. And if the opposite of trust is fear, frankly. So if we just look into this emotion a little bit deeper or through a different lens, we can begin to understand its superpower and its ability to propel us in the right direction.
I have spent enough of my life coming from a place of fear or making decisions based on a fearful mindset. I don't need to do it anymore. I, going forward, want to make my decisions based on a variety of other factors, information, input, planning, because I am not at all negating the value of hard work, effort, perseverance, planning. That's all essential to success, long-term success as well. But I simultaneously believe in the abundance of good things to come in my future, in the future of this podcast. And the members of the SoulFull Society, there is so much good ahead of us. And I really sincerely, firmly know that. I won't even say believe it. Like, I just know it. So tap in to the jealousy. Tap in and let it put you on the path. And when you're on the path, you work hard and you keep stepping. And sometimes you stumble and you get yourself back up and you step some more. And you keep going until you get to the place where you're the one with the great news.
I'm thinking about a mountain, climbing the mountain, you get to the top, but really that's never the end. Like, there is no end. And there's so much goodness to come, but we just need to know which mountain to climb. And the way to figure that out, you need to listen and say, if I feel this way, I need to stop ignoring or telling myself that all those negative things, like I'm not good enough, I don't have enough money, I don't have the connections, I don't know how I'll do that, I'm not talented enough. You need to rid yourself of those emotions and know that this is right for you. Like, this is right for me, this is for me, and keep going.
If you deny jealousy or bury jealousy, you're wasting valuable input.
Your jealousy is trying to tell you which way to turn and what you need to start working on. So forget the other person. It's really not about them. Focus inward. If you feel envious, that should point you on the path. It's highlighting, this is something that I want for myself.
Listen to it, dig into it, and figure out how to make it happen.
Let go of the shame and step into your higher power.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to have you share it with a friend.
And if you could please tap that 5th star and leave a review telling us what you liked about the podcast or what you want to hear next.
Have a great week. We love you. Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light.
The SoulFull Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers.